everyone! Today we're going to discuss the best Hulk smash and fight moments in all his Marvel movie appearances. If you liked the video, be sure to leave us a like and subscribe to the channel to not miss out on any future content regarding your favorite movies. Without further ado, let's get started. Despite being a horrible movie, there is a seriously cool scene in 2003's Hulk in which Eric Bana's edition of the unique character knocks down a bunch of tanks. It takes place when he's on the run, and Sam Elliott's General Ross deploys the armed services to undertake him. The Hulk tosses one tank into the air, tears the roof off yet another, and utilizes it to smash down what's left of it. He deforms another tank's big gun so that it points at the driver of the vehicle. The scene was the perfect representation of the Hulk's power and influence in the entire movie. The flinging of the very first tank, in general, and especially, emphasized Hulk's invulnerability, as he simply took a shell that was being shot at him, just like an everyday person would have taken being struck by a ping-pong ball, hence, setting the tone for his future endeavors. In his sole standalone movie, the first embodiment of the Incredible Hulk in the MCU is primarily invincible, attempting to prove more than a contest for soldiers and high-tech weapon systems. Nevertheless, after being offered the cybernetically enhanced therapies and then being infused with Bruce Banner's gamma-irradiated plasma, a notably power-obsessed warrior named Emil Blonsky strives to become as mighty as Hulk, and the outcome is Abomination. We were all enthusiastic when we discovered that the Abomination would be making an appearance against Hulk in 2008's The Incredible Hulk, but we were obviously annoyed after we saw him. Instead of the bright green scaly skin, the Abomination here has the appearance of a dark corn dog. To make matters worse, he completely lacks the legendary ears. Irrespective, he was an abomination in terms of resilience and fighting capabilities. In the film's climactic scene, the two super strong monsters battled on the streets of New York, so it was a very catastrophic event. Abomination, who was considerably larger and spinier than Hulk, is a cleverer and more brutal fighter than Hulk throughout most of their fight. But Hulk ends up winning, and he gets a few hard shots in just before his triumph. When Abomination was on the ground and Hulk repeatedly punched his face into the pavement, there was a particularly impressive Hulk smash occasion, even though Abomination was consequently repeating his dialogue, "Is that all you've got?" The damage and destruction were so genuine that you can feel the pain and anguish of each pulverized construction brick at the scene. Hulk and Thor are, of course, mates after having to fight together during the Battle of New York and the Battle of Sokovia, and they ultimately team up in Thor Ragnarok, but their primary relationship had a bumpy start. On the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, a blast provoked by one of Hawkeye's crossbow bolts disturbed Bruce Banner to the point where he failed to keep control and converted into the Hulk. Hulk battered and bruised Thor's nose and garnered a shot from Mjolnir to the head during their struggle, but the tussle was brought to an end when a fighter plane distracted Hulk, causing him to strike it and drop to the ground. The finest Hulk smash occasion, of course, came much later, when Hulk pretty much ended their previous tussle by jabbing Thor off screen. During the first 3 quarters of the Avengers, the Hulk was pretty ineffective. This could not be aided. He was a disaster waiting to happen, and it's uncertain why Nick Fury would want him when he was responsible for destroying the whole S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier. It's not until the final confrontation that the Hulk managed to prove his significance, especially against the Chitauri invading forces. Bruce Banner, who was last seen fighting Thor on the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, came to help his fellow Avengers battle Loki's alien armed force, which included Chitauri security forces, Chitauri on-air vehicles, and giant Chitauri Leviathans. When Tony Stark decided to draw one of the Leviathans towards the Avengers with the corresponding statement, "I'm bringing the party to you," Captain America best advised Bruce Banner that it was a great time to get angry. He disclosed that he was always angry, and like a real superhero, Banner instantaneously converted into the Hulk and brutally murdered the ginormous monster with a solitary, powerful strike. Loki, the god of mischief, like Ultron, is not frightened of many beings, including Thor and his foster father, Odin. Admittedly, he is a god and among the most potent Asgardians. Nevertheless, until Loki could populate his head with feelings of supremacy and almost overcome Earth, the Hulk decided to intervene to disintegrate his illusion of progress. During the Battle of New York, Hulk managed to track down Loki at the upper edge of Stark Tower, where he was controlling the fight and charged at him. Loki was having none of that and attempted to speak Hulk down by declaring himself to be a god and trying to tell him that he would never be harassed by him. The god of mischief's first authentic and physiological taste of embarrassment and thwart came when he was picked up by the legs and smacked him repetitively on the ground like a rubber ball. It was painful enough to seriously harm him. Hulk then decided to walk away like a complete macho man, saying the legendary words, "puny god." The opening up of Avengers Age of Ultron saw the protagonist champions ransacking a Hydra framework that was inhabited by Baron Wolfgang von Strucker. The villain deployed forces to defend the platform, each carrying weapons which were powered by the Infinity Stones. The Avengers were rather potent for them. Every player on the team had their time in the limelight, with Hulk shattering his adversaries left, right, and middle. Nevertheless, his fondly remembered Hulk smash occasion in this incident took place when most of the bad dudes struck the Avengers from the inside of a bunker. When Black Widow asked, "Does anyone want to deal with that bunker?" the Hulk showed up from nowhere and went straight through it, shattering it into tiny pieces. The harsh reality is that the Hulk was whacked in the shins during the battle against Iron Man's Hulkbuster armor, aka Veronica, but he tried to smash on his own during what was an utterly incredible back-and-forth struggle. We never really developed a sense of how much harm the Hulk can do until we saw him go bonkers in Avengers Age of Ultron. After being entranced by the Scarlet Witch, the Hulk went on a killing spree in an African city, demolishing everything and possibly wounding innocent civilians. He was pretty much unstoppable till Tony Stark stepped in to help with his Hulkbuster body armor to alleviate the risk of collateral damage. Even with the most cutting-edge available technology, Stark would not have been able to handle or beat the Hulk. The Hulk's strikes were so potent that Stark had to convene additional body armor components during the battle, especially when Hulk was using a large yellow metal pole to pierce the armor plating from behind. The pair of them attempted to level quite a few structures, notwithstanding Stark's best attempts to curtail the destruction. The showdown was utterly devastating, with big punches, innocence in threat, and the destruction of infrastructure. Despite his anger and frustration, Hulk had a sense of morality almost all of the time. But this battle illustrated how frightening he is when he does not give a damn. For a short instant, he became the inexorable beast that the Avengers had dreaded all along. Of course, the big green creature was sooner or later whacked out, and it was quite an awesome feeling on Stark's part. Hulk continued to play a lead role part in the outcome war of Avengers Age of Ultron, known as the Battle of Sokovia. Ultron's mind was connected to thousands of drones, which the Hulk managed to chop up like butter. He poked, pushed, and tossed them in massive numbers, and many of them even fled from him in sheer terror of being squished. But his greatest moment came during a brief interaction with Ultron's main body. The robotic antagonist had just been slammed by Iron Man, Thor, and Vision's collective strength, and was trying to clarify his behavior. Hulk, nevertheless, thumped him much further into the distance as he was about to. Thank heavens the MCU presented us with more than one Thor vs. Hulk confrontation. The second encounter took place in Thor Ragnarok, and it was another hotly anticipated blood sport contest between Hulk and Thor. Nevertheless, it's not as balanced as the helicarrier struggle between the two most powerful and capable Avengers, since Thor does not have his Mjolnir in the tussle, but he still appeared to have done commendably against Hulk. Hulk was never one to let his Asgardian clubbait off the hook, and this is particularly true in front of the Green Giant's enraptured enthusiasts. The two have their largest and wittiest battles so far, with each containing some sturdy knocks, and Hulk in specific displaying more deviousness than usual. The Hulk wins the battle. Nevertheless, forecasts and fan speculations recommend that Thor would have managed to win if the Grand Master had not swindled. Irrespective, this was another accomplishment and confidence boost for the Hulk, who was the unchallenged Sakaar champion. Surtur's ruination of Asgard in Thor Ragnarok was said to be a sorrowful and intense scenario. After all, it was Thor's place of residence, which he had to voluntarily forfeit so that he, or rather Surtur, could destroy Hela. Then there was a dumb Hulk, who had to have a pissing contest with Surtur to see who the larger threat was. What best distinguishes the Hulk as a superhero is the way he viciously attacks Surtur without incitement and with complete impunity. His rationale, or lack of it, is also simple and clear. Look at the big creature. Attack the big creature. It's a great pity Thor and Valkyrie clipped the battle short before we realized who had won. That's it for today. What's your favorite Hulk moment? Did we leave out another smasher? Let us know in the comments down below. Be sure to leave us a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more content on the biggest upcoming blockbusters. Until next time,